Hi, so it's been a while since I made a video, and I've had lots of things happening. I had a trip to North Carolina, and I opened up my church, and I found out that I have a little thyroid cancer. So I've been, just processing all of this life stuff. It's all good. It's all fine. And I want to continue with the Course in Miracles lessons, but I also wanted to share with you a story that I told this Sunday at Sanctuary, my spiritual center in Hinsdale, Illinois. And the story was about the little drummer boy, and because we're approaching Thanksgiving, and when we approach Thanksgiving, we're always thinking about giving thanks for things, for people, places, and things. And what was suggested to me was that we give thanks for those gifts that come from us, not those gifts that come for us. So those gifts that come from us. And right away I thought about the little drummer boy. It's one of my favorite stories. And so I'm going to tell you this story in my version. So there's a little boy, and he wakes up and he gets birthed into this experience, into this life, and he loves drumming. And he drums all the time. And he drums on the kitchen table, and he drums in the bathroom, and he drums in the classroom, and he drums on his mom's shoe and on his dad's head, and he just drums all over the place till finally his parents break down and they buy him a drum. So he's so excited. He plays this drum wherever he goes, and he becomes the little drummer boy. And he especially loves playing at parties. So he gets wind of this party that's going to go down a few towns over, and he says, I want to go to this party, and it's a birthday party. It's for a king. And he thinks, oh my gosh, I really want to go play my drum for this birthday party. So he tries to figure out how to get to the birthday party, but only information that comes to him is that he needs to follow this star. And in every story, everything's a symbol. And the star in this story is about that internal wisdom, that internal calling to a greater knowing of yourself. And so he follows this internal wisdom and this calling for a greater knowing of himself until he comes upon this stable. And he thinks to himself, this is the king? This is where the king gets birthed? This is the birthday party for the king? So he decides, well, okay, this doesn't look right. And then he goes a little closer, and he sees kings. He sees actual kings that are there giving gifts. So he sees these kings, and he starts to feel like, oh my gosh, I don't have any real gifts to give. He forgets his own gifts. And I know this happens to us all the time. We get intimidated by what's going on in other people's backyards and what other people seem to have or don't have. And especially, if we're trolling Facebook, or if we're in media, or if we're just, in life in general, we come across these ideas of people who have, expertise in certain areas, or they have mastered certain areas. And that doesn't mean that it's any less within us. All potential of greatness dwells within everyone equally. But we don't always know that, and we step into this smaller version of ourselves. Like the little drummer boy stepped back for a moment, and he said, I'm not worthy, and I don't have any gifts. And he watched as the first king set his gift of myrrh at the foot of the baby, and the baby took note, like babies do. Myrrh, what's myrrh? I don't know what myrrh is. The little drummer boy didn't know what myrrh was, but he thought for sure it was better than his gift. And then the second king came, and he put down the frankincense. And again, the little drummer boy was like, I have no idea what that is, but it's a gift of the king, and it must be so much more wonderful than what I'm here to offer. And then the third king put down gold. Now, the little drummer boy knew about gold. And at that, he really wanted to step back and run, actually. And we all have that experience where we come to something where we feel fear, and we think, I'm not worthy, I want to run from this. But what happened was the Blessed Mother gave him the noble nod. And if you've ever been to Ireland, or if you have Irish roots, you know what the noble nod is. And that means that there is no backing out, that it is now your turn and you need to step up to bat. And so the little drummer boy received the noble nod from the Blessed Mother. And he knew that he needed to step in, and he remembered himself. He had a remembering of himself. And he said, I will play my drum for you. And as the song goes, he says that not only will he play his drum, but he will play his best. And so that was what was suggested this holiday season, is that we don't just play our drum, but we play our best. We don't have to play better than anyone else. We just have to play our best. Because we are all given specific joys, specific talents. Some of us love to sing, some of us love to write stories, some of us love to tell stories, some of us love to create artwork, some of us love to bake dinners. And I mentioned that my mother-in-law has been baking us dinner every Monday night, and she's an exceptional cook. And so in her sharing of her gifts get extended out into the world and returned to her multiplied abundantly. So when we're sharing our own greatness out into the world, it returns to us, as did with the drummer boy. So what happened with the drummer boy when he began to play his best was that the Christ child smiled at him. And this is what happens when we share our true gifts, is that the world responds. It's like greatness meeting greatness. This is what the story is telling us. When we are bold enough and fearless enough to share our brilliance, the world shines. We light up the whole world. When we make someone smile by sharing our greatness, we have lit up our portion of the world. So I love this story, and I have to share that my favorite part of the story is the line that says, the ox and lamb kept time. Because for me, this means that when we share our greatness, that the entire universe conspires to support us. That all of nature conspires to support us. And that's what it means to me when it says the ox and lamb kept time. And so I hope that this holiday season you might share your gifts in a bolder way than ever before. And if you want to write down in the comments what your gifts are and how you intend to share them, or if you just want to write your gifts and what they are, just writing them down publicly says to yourself, I'm committed to knowing myself this way. Whether I'm committed to knowing myself as a great teacher, or committed to knowing myself as a great singer, or committed to knowing myself as a great writer or storyteller, whatever it is, once you commit to it, it finds you. And I'll share one other short story. When I first started acting, I remember I was waitressing, and I said to my sister, whenever I tell somebody that I'm an actress, and I'm waitressing, they kind of laugh. And she said, well, maybe you should stop telling them that you want to be an actress, and you tell them that you are an actress. And that's what I was telling her. I was saying, I want to be an actress, and yeah, so does everybody, you know. So she said, she suggested, why don't you say that you are and commit to it yourself. Once you believe that this is who you are, then this is what will unfold for you. And I tested it out, and I went back to those tables and I said, I'm an actress. And instead of them laughing at me, they asked, well, what are you doing? And immediately the conversation shifted around me. And I realized that I had to make sure that my feet followed my words. So I had to follow that northern star. And I did, and before the month was even up, and I know this is quick manifestation, but it could happen this quickly for you too. Before the month was even up, I had been signed to a New York agency, and I had booked my first job, and I was flying first class to Bristol, Tennessee to shoot my first national commercial. So I share these with you, these stories and these ideas, because I hope that they will be helpful to motivate you into your true greatness. And I hope that you continue to express your greatness this holiday season. God bless. Thanks for letting me share. Just another